clear tu te chibai ule tun chum no pang te huna chuanin kalo lom chewa no pang zong zong kha min lo ngai thavek tura ka ngaya kan program hi amu nom don ania voinia chuang kan van nei don khop maya hey government Chhinga Veng primary school 1 te khan no pang te hun kha anon mang dona items chi sang zai pol te solo te restation te lam te po kha voinia hen anon entir don ania chuan ama sabberatan kan som mop ngal menga restation kan ngai thanga Chris dal moi puya polizilai in thufing te bung som pakhat chang khata changa chang som asoi tu chu lo ngai thang
pathian tu thiang hlimi lo ngai thlangu thufing te bung khat chang khata changa chang so bunga dik lo hi lelpa mit muin thil ten om ani a khindik che ero chu alom zong ani chapauna lo omin mol phauna lo oma in ngai tlom ten ne na chon fin na om mi ferril ruthat na chuan an man ni hruainga mi vervek te lulul na ero chuan an man ni ti bora lang thin urni chuan sum le pa in tangka na nei lovanga fel na ero chuan thi na ta chan chuwa kang mi thafam kim fel na chuan kong a ko mu anga mi suak sol ero chu ama so sol na in ati tluwang midik tak fel na chuan an mani chan chuak anga vervek taka ti tu te ro chu an mani poi khoi nge yam ani nan omang mi suak sol chu a thi na ma chuan chu a bora langa thil thalo ti tu te nga fak chu a bora lang mi fel chu mong an na ta choi no ma mi suak swal ina hun chu alwa thunga pathian ngai sak lo mi chuan aka na then om te ti bora la mi fel ero chu shat na wangin chan choi na omang mi felte chunga thil atluan la in khuwa ahlima mi suak swalte an thi in outdoor dur om thin kalome
thiamin tiem chang som meu han thiam tur kha chuan zirve fe ngai nia keini ai khanin inril ru kha lo chak dei zo ka no pang ho khan mo ole tuna chuanin zain ngai thateng wanlal lom sangi zai tun ka som ve thunga ani hi polizil lai ani tunai lo ngai thang ule
Thiang him phật ro
ole tuna chuanin thon thu toy soi kha kan ngai thave thung don ani hei kan no pan lai chuanin kan nu le pa te kan pi le pu te khan thon thu kha min sil thina tun huna hianin Sar Samuel lal ro paran thon thu toy kha ron sei dona the happy prince ti kha no pang te kha ron sil don ani nang ni po clear tu zinga khan no pang te point lo mai thea ngun takin enge zir chua tir min tum ti te po kha ngun takin in lo ngai thave don ni o tu nai lo ngai thang ule.
Hello everyone. Today I am going to read a story about the Happy Prince. It is a story about a prince and a swallow. Once upon a time, there was a tiny swallow. This one was flying with his flocks to Egypt for the winter. Every year, the swallow stopped to rest at the same little town on the way. Our little swallow was so tired that he couldn't wait to tuck his head under his wing and go to sleep. But he slept so deeply that when he woke up, the whole flock had set off. He saw a very important-looking statue of a man up high in the town square. It was covered in gold leaf. The statue's head had a beautiful sapphires and a big red ruby on its belt. The jacket buttons were made of gold, and he had diamond cufflinks. He must be important, thought the little swallow, but he looked sad. I can sleep up there, he thought. It will be safe and dry. That evening, he flew up and perched between the statue's feet. He put his head under his wing, ready to sleep, when a great drop of water landed on him. Splash! That's funny, he thought. He looked up and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. Another drop came down and landed on his beak. I'm off, thought the swallow, but he looked up to see the statue's face, but tears ran down his golden cheeks. Who are you? Asked the swallow. I am the Happy Prince, said a sad voice from up above. Because when I was alive, I had a very lucky life. As a boy, I lived in a palace with great gardens to play in. When I grew up, I had everything anyone could ever ask for. And I thought I was happy. Why are you crying then, if you're happy? Up here, I can see things I never see before, and some things make me very unhappy, said the prince. Sorry to hear that, said the swallow. See that old house across the square? Said the prince. Yes, nodded the swallow. Well, a very poor woman lives there. She works hard making clothes all day long and hardly ever eats, as she can only just afford to feed his only son, said the prince. Oh dear, that's no good, replied the swallow. Little swallow, please be my helper for one day. You see, my legs are stuck and I can't move. The swallow had a good heart and said, I'll stay here tonight and I'll help out tomorrow, then I'm off. Next morning, the swallow woke up and the prince said, Good morning, little friend. I hope you slept well. Yes, thanks, said the swallow, and ready to help out. Can you pull out one of the gold buttons of my jacket? I'll try, answered the swallow. He flitted up and grabbed a button in his beak. He twisted and turned and worked the button loose. The prince said, Clever little bird, now please take it to the woman I showed you last night and leave it where she will find it. The swallow flew straight off and was quickly back. Done it, he said. I flew through the open window and left it on her work table. Excellent, said the prince. Now, see the old man begging in the square down there? Yes, nodded the swallow. He has become poor, and a gold button would really help him. The swallow grabbed another button and soon had it in his beak. He flew down and dropped the gold button into the old man's collecting box. The old man's eyes were wide open with delight. Oh my word, it's like a gift from the sky, exclaimed the old man. Next, the prince told the swallow about a poor little girl who only had ragged clothes. The prince told the little swallow to take a diamond cuffling off. The swallow got the cuffling in his beak and flew straight down to the little girl's house where she was sitting outside. She looked up at the swallow, hovered above her head, and smiled in surprise. "Hello, little bird. Shouldn't you be in Egypt with the other swallows?" she asked. The swallow dropped the diamond cufflings in her lap. Her eyes lit up, and the swallow flew away. The prince told the swallow about people in the town who needed help. Every time the swallow took something valuable from the statue, the prince looked a little less sad. Finally, all the precious things had gone except the gold leaf covering the statue and the red ruby on his belt. "One last thing, please," smiled the prince. "There is a little hospital and there's no money to look after the sick people. Please pull all my gold leaf off and take it and the ruby to the hospital." The swallow grabbed a piece of gold leaf in his beak, and before long there was a little pile of gold. Then he flew off to the hospital, and through the open window he left the ruby on a desk and flew back for the gold. It took him several trips, but he did it. He was tired, so he flew back to the statue, tucked his head under his wing, and was soon fast asleep. Next morning was his long journey. "You have been the best little helper ever," grinned the prince. "What good were all the jewels and gold when there were people who needed help?" "Very true. Well, better be off," said the swallow. "Goodbye." The swallow turned to take one last look at the statue, who had a great big smile on his face, and thought, "Now, he really is a happy prince." The end.
Ole tuna chuanin lam khain lo thiam hlo mem ke phei hi chuanin lam kha ka thiam lu tuk to lawa ma se no pan kan ni lai kha chuan lam kha ka thiam ve ang reng ani tun huna hianin lam turin class 4 students ho kha ka som dona an lam thiam don ni chu wang chuan an lam lai khanin in chunga te in om mun chawa khan lo lam pui ula tuna lam turin class 4 students te lo somang ule.
Jesus, 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 Jesus. Jesus is the winner man. Winner man, winner man. Jesus is the winner man. Winner man all the time. Winner man, winner man, winner man, winner man, winner man, winner man, winner man. Winner man, winner man, winner man, winner man, winner man all the time. Satan is the loser man, loser man, loser man. Satan is the loser man all the time. Loser man, loser man, loser man, loser man, loser man, loser man, loser man. Loser man, loser man, loser man, loser man, loser man all the time. We are on the winning side, winning side, winning side. We are on the winning side all the time. Winning side, winning side, winning side, winning side, winning side, winning side, winning side. Winning side, winning side, winning side, winning
ô tuần huna kan khia lệ tur chu pon tàu khania hay pon tàu chu mizo in fiam na ania tuần huna ron entir tur po hi chi sang sangin pon tàu dan chi sang sangin man lai no pangten an pon tàu dan chin hi tun lain man no pangte pon in se to lo mai thia tuần huna hian an ron entir don ni tuna pon tàu i lo clear hau ang ule tuna chuanin zaipol te kan ngai kha ve thunga famta puro ku nga hla phua ro min rel sakang che ti hla kha anon save thung don ani tu này lâu so mang u rau min rel sang che ti hla sa turin Alek an items dot letan chuanin lalparam tan ti hla kha anzai mai pialama action nen khanin anon ti dona helai hi moi tak mai nia no pangte chuan in siat vek karing ashelo te pon thiam har lo ni achang hi atoya chuwang chuanin in lo lam puyanga nuam takin hunin lo man pui don nia o lalparam tan ti hla an sak ilo ngai thate angu
Voice in
ole tuna chuan lam kan thlir ho le don ni china khanin I alian lampang class 4 te khan non lama tun huna ero chuanin lam tur hi ate lampang khan anon lam nga khochak lampang hla banana ti khain siam banana dance mang khanin anon lam don ni lo lam pui ula lo zuang tor u anuam don ya ke po karon lam ve mai theini le I lo thlir hong ole khati zong kha government Chhinga Veng primary school 110 voinia hun anon man thai ania muno min lo ti ve nge kan ringa no pang te hunin lo nz adon ya in tun chuma chan chuanin in zawain mutui mang cha vek ole bye bye u